Sarah's phone buzzed on the nightstand at her sister's house. She stared at the ceiling, heart hammering against her ribs. The email was sent 8 years of marriage reduced to 12 lines of text. She had rehearsed the wording for weeks, deleting and retyping until it sounded final, detached, lawyer-proof. No tears, no room for negotiation, just the cold click of send. She rolled onto her side, clutching the pillow that smelled like Emily's lavender detergent. He'll call, she told herself. He'll beg. He'll show up at the door with that panicked look he gets when the Wi-Fi goes down. The thought made her stomach twist. Not with guilt, but with a sharp, electric anticipation. She needed him to chase her. Needed proof that she still mattered enough to fight for. Across town, Mark padded barefoot to the kitchen, poured coffee into the chipped blue mug she hated, and opened his laptop on the island. The email notification glowed. Red. Subject: important. Please read. His pulse didn't spike. It flatlined. He read the first line, then the second, then the third. Each sentence landed like a gavel. I've made the difficult decision to file for divorce. No exclamation points. No. I'm sorry. Just the sterile precision of a termination notice. He sat motionless for exactly 30 seconds, counted them on the microwave clock. Then he typed one word. Understood. Send. No ellipsis. No question mark. Just a period. Sarah's phone lit up. She scrambled for it, breath catching. One word. She read it 3 times, waiting for the follow-up. The plea. The voice note cracking with desperation. Nothing came. The silence stretched, thick and suffocating. She dialed Emily. He just accepted it. Emily's voice was tinny through the speaker. Good. That's what you wanted, right? Space? Sarah's fingers tightened around the phone. He's supposed to fight. Mark forwarded the email to his attorney, David Klein. Subject line: immediate action required. David called back in 4 minutes. This is Gold, Mark. She's documented abandonment of the marital home and requested separate residence. You move fast, you lock everything down. Mark was already logged into the joint checking account. He rerouted his direct deposit to a new solo account at a different bank. Transferred exactly 50% of the savings, $38,472.18, into the new account, screenshot. Saved. He called HR. Mark Thompson. I need to remove Sarah Thompson from my medical, life insurance, and emergency contacts. Effective immediately. The rep hesitated. Sir, are you sure? This is permanent. Positive. Netflix password changed to a 16-character string of random symbols. He moved through the house like a man defusing a bomb. Methodical, expressionless. Every action time-stamped, documented. Sarah's phone buzzed again. Emily. He hasn't called, hasn't texted. Nothing. Sarah stared at the message. Her throat closed. She opened the banking app. The joint savings balance had dropped by half. A new transaction. Transfer to Mark Thompson. New act. She called him. Straight to voicemail. Mark, what the hell are you doing? We need to talk. No response. Mark sat in David's office, a converted warehouse loft downtown. Exposed brick. Industrial lighting. David slid a folder across the table. She's lawyered up. Johnson and Associates. They want a meeting Thursday. Mark didn't blink. She wanted official. She gets official. Process server knocked on Emily's door. Sarah signed for the divorce papers with shaking hands. The summons was stapled to a copy of her email, highlighted. She called Mark. Voicemail again. Text. This is insane. Pick up the phone. His reply came 3 minutes later. All communication through counsel. David Klein, Esquire. Contact info attached. Mark's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered on speaker in his home office. Mr. Thompson, this is Attorney Johnson representing Sarah Thompson in the dissolution proceedings. Route it through David Klein. Wait, please. There are urgent legal ramifications she wasn't aware of when she initiated. Mark cut in, voice flat. Her email established abandonment. My actions created a timeline. She wanted space. She's got it. Johnson's tone shifted, urgent. She didn't understand she was forfeiting exclusive rights to the marital home. Then she should have read the fine print before hitting send. He hung up. Sarah showed up at the house. Mark watched from the Ring camera as she tried her key, twice. It didn't turn. She pounded on the door. He opened it 6 inches, chain lock engaged. "What do you need?" Her eyes were red-rimmed. "Let me in. This is my house. According to your email and your attorney, you're residing with your sister for the foreseeable future. That established intent to vacate." She stepped closer, voice cracking. "I was upset. You're twisting my words. You documented your intent. I documented my response." Her phone rang. She answered, turning away. Mark heard Johnson's voice, sharp. "Do not speak. Get to my office. Now." Sarah's shoulders slumped. She looked back at Mark, eyes pleading. "This isn't what I wanted." "Then you should have wanted it before you put it in writing." He closed the door, locked it, changed the code on the keypad. Mediation conference room, gray carpet, fluorescent lights. Sarah sat across from Mark, flanked by Johnson. Her hands twisted a tissue into knots. Johnson opened. "My client was emotionally distressed when she sent the email. She requested be treated as a temporary separation, not grounds for dissolution." David slid the folder forward. "Your client stated, in writing, 'I am filing for divorce, and I need space to figure out my life.' My client respected her stated wishes and protected his interests accordingly." Sarah's voice broke the silence. "You did all this in 2 days? The accounts, the insurance. You made your decision clear. I executed with efficiency." Johnson whispered in her ear. She shook her head, eyes filling. "What if we try counseling instead?" "You didn't mention counseling in your email. You mentioned divorce." The mediator cleared his throat. "We'll recess for private caucus." In the hallway, Sarah cornered Mark by the vending machines. "You're not even angry," she hissed. "You're acting like I'm a hostile takeover. You treated our marriage like a contract I responded in kind." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "I thought you'd fight for me. I fought for 8 years. You decided it wasn't enough." She reached for his arm. He stepped back. "Your attorney's waiting." That night, Sarah sat in Emily's guest room, staring at the divorce papers. The highlighted email glared back at her. She opened her phone, scrolled to Ryan's last text. 3 days old, call me when you're actually free." She typed, "It's complicated." No reply. She threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall, screen cracking. Mark ate steak alone, medium rare, garlic mashed potatoes. Watched the Bears game on the 65-inch TV. Volume at 45. No one complained. His phone buzzed. "Emily. She's a wreck. Call her." He typed. "She requested space. I'm respecting it." Blocked the number. The house was silent. For the first time in months, he slept without clenching his jaw. The next morning, a manila envelope arrived via courier. Inside, phone records, hotel receipts, and a single post-it from David Klein. She wasn't at her sister's. She was with him. David's voice cut through the mediation room like a scalpel. "My client respected her explicitly stated wishes and protected his interests accordingly." Sarah's face drained of color as Johnson flipped through the timeline printout. Bank transfers, insurance cancellations, text logs, filed petitions, all executed in under 48 hours. Her lips parted, but no sound came. "You did all this in 2 days?" she whispered, eyes locked on the stack of evidence. "You made your decision clear," Mark replied, voice even. "I executed with efficiency." Johnson leaned in, murmuring urgently. Sarah shook her head, a sharp jerk. Her cheeks flushed crimson. "What if we agree to marriage counseling instead?" she blurted, ignoring her attorney's frantic gestures. "You didn't mention counseling in your email," Mark said. "You mentioned divorce and space. People say things when they're upset. People also face consequences when they say things they don't mean." David leaned forward. "Your client initiated formal dissolution proceedings. My client responded to those actions. Second thoughts do not undo the legal process she started." The meeting dragged on for 90 minutes. Johnson requested 3 recesses, floated compromises, temporary separation, shared assets freeze, even a post-nuptial agreement. Each time, David circled back to the same point. Sarah was an adult who made an adult decision, documented it in writing, and now wanted to evade the fallout. "We'll need time to review options," Johnson finally conceded. "Of course," David said. "My client will continue respecting her request for space while the process proceeds." Outside the building, Sarah caught Mark by his truck. "This isn't you," she said, voice trembling. "You're not this cold." "I'm exactly who I've always been. The difference is I'm no longer trying to fix what you decided to break. We can still fix this. You didn't want to fix it. You wanted space and divorce. I'm giving you exactly what you asked for. Your attorney's waiting." She opened her mouth, closed it. Mark drove away. His phone buzzed. "Sarah, this isn't what I meant." "Mark, then mean what you say and say what you mean." For the first time in months, he felt in control. That evening, Mark pulled into the driveway and froze. Sarah's silver Civic sat crooked across 2 spaces. She was perched on the front steps, coat pulled tight against the November wind, cheeks raw from cold. "How'd you get past the new locks?" "I didn't. I've been sitting here 2 hours." "Dedication?" She stood, brushing frost from her jeans. "We need to talk. For real this time." "About what?" "Your attorney said you're considering options. I've thought about us. About what I really want. I want to come home. I want to work on the marriage." "Convenient timing. Right after you learned what divorce actually costs." "That's not why." "Of course it is." He stepped inside, leaving the door ajar. She followed to the kitchen. "You thought you could file for divorce, test the waters, keep me as backup, then waltz back when it suited you?" "That's not true." "Then explain the coincidence. Last week you were certain. What changed?" She hesitated. "I made a mistake." "People make mistakes. People also live with them." He seasoned chicken breasts, slid them onto the grill pan. The sizzle filled the silence. "You're really going to ignore me?" "I'm not ignoring you. I'm giving you the space you demanded." "This is absurd. I live here too." "Per your email, you reside with your sister for the foreseeable future." She dropped into a chair uninvited. "What do you want me to do?" "Be honest. Why are you here?" "I told you." "You told me what you think I want to hear. Tell me what actually happened." She stared at the floor. Minutes passed. The vegetables steamed. "Emily thinks I'm insane for leaving you." "Your sister didn't change your mind about our marriage." "No. But she said some things. That I was throwing away a good man over stupid complaints." He plated the food, sat across from her. "What were the stupid complaints?" "I don't know. Everything." "Try again." "You never wanted to go for walks. You were always working or watching sports. You never planned anything romantic." "And now?" "Now I realize those weren't real problems." "What made you realize?" Another pause. "Being alone made me think about what I actually had." "Which was?" "A husband who paid the bills, never cheated, never lied, never gave me real reasons to worry." Mark almost laughed. "That's your epiphany?" "It sounds shallow when I say it out loud." "It sounds honest." He ate. She fidgeted. "So what now?" "You live with the decision you made." "But I changed my mind."
Yep.
"You changed your mind about the consequences, not the reasons you left." "What does that mean?" "You still think I'm boring. You still resent the lack of grand gestures, same complaints. You just decided they're not worth being single." Tears spilled. "That's not fair." "What's not fair is expecting me to pretend this conversation never happened. You didn't leave because we had problems. You left because you thought you could do better." "And I was wrong. You realized you couldn't do better. That's different." Her crying intensified. "So that's it? You won't even try?" "I tried for 8 years. You decided it wasn't enough." "People change. People grow." "You're right. I grew a backbone. I'm done accepting disrespect." She wiped her face. "What would it take for you to consider working on this?" "Honesty. Full disclosure about why you really left. And why you really want back." "I told you. You told me the palatable version." Tell me the truth. Silence stretched. I thought there might be someone better. And there isn't. Because I looked. I explored my options. There it is. So I filed for divorce to shop around, keeping you as my safety net? I didn't think of it like that. How did you think of it? That you'd fight for me. Try to win me back. Show me why I should stay. He stood, rinsed his plate. You wanted me to compete for the privilege of being married to someone actively shopping for my replacement. When you say it like that, it sounds awful. It is awful. She followed him to the sink. But I came back. I chose you. You came back because the other options dried up. That's not choosing me. That's settling when nothing better showed up. I don't see it that way. Your perspective doesn't change the facts. Her phone buzzed. She ignored it. Who's texting? No one important. The guy you were exploring options with. She didn't answer. He's still messaging. And you're sitting in my kitchen trying to salvage our marriage. You don't see the problem? It's not what you think. I think you kept him on the hook to see if I'd take you back. Now you're keeping me on the hook to see if he'll commit. You're paranoid. I'm realistic. Show me your phone. What? If you have nothing to hide, show me. She clutched it tighter. I'm not proving myself to you. You're not proving yourself because you can't. You're still playing both sides. He opened the front door. Time to go. You're throwing away 8 years over this? You threw away 8 years when you decided I wasn't good enough. I'm just accepting your decision. She lingered in the doorway, willing him to soften. He didn't. Your attorney will contact mine about next steps. After she left, certainty settled over him like armor. She'd shown her true colors. Everything else was negotiation tactics. An hour later, Emily called. She's devastated. She loves you. She loves security. There's a difference. You can't give her one more chance? She had 8 years of chances. She used them to decide I wasn't enough. People make mistakes, and people live with the consequences. He hung up, powered off the phone. The next morning, David called. We need to meet today. I have information about your wife's activities during her space, the kind that explains why she suddenly wanted divorce, and why she's desperate to reconnect now. Mark sat in David's office, the air thick with the scent of fresh printer ink and stale coffee. Stacks of documents covered the desk. Credit card statements, phone logs, bank transfers. David pushed a folder toward him. Her attorney accidentally included these in discovery. They paint a crystal clear picture. First page, credit card charges, dozens of them over the past month. The Capitol Grill, $187.42. Rooftop bar at the Thompson Hotel, $92.50. 3 separate hotel stays downtown. The Langham, the Peninsula, the Four Seasons. Multiple nights each. All while she claimed to be figuring out her life at her sister's, David said. She wasn't at Emily's. Not exclusively. Look at the hotels. All in the loop. No reason for her to be there. Unless she was with someone. Next. Phone records. Hundreds of texts and calls to one number. Timeline started 6 weeks before the email. Who is it? Ryan Keller, colleague from her old job, transferred from the Denver office 3 months ago. The pieces clicked. She'd planned this. David slid over screenshots, text threads between Sarah and Ryan. Early ones. Sarah, finally telling him this weekend. Can't pretend anymore. Ryan, you sure about leaving him? Divorce is messy. Sarah, I'm done. Life's too short for a boring marriage. Ryan, what about money? Heard he makes good cash. Sarah, that's what lawyers are for? I'll figure it out. Mark scrolled. Complaints about their marriage. Ryan encouraging her. Planning dates. Weekend getaways. All before the email. She had the exit strategy locked in before she even hit send. But it gets better. David pulled recent messages. Ryan, thought you were divorcing? Sarah, it's more complicated than I expected. Ryan, how? Sarah, legal stuff. Messy, expensive. Ryan, so what does that mean for us? Sarah, need time to sort it. Ryan, you said you were sure about leaving him. Sarah, I am. Just need to do it right. Then Ryan went cold. Ryan, feels like you're stringing me along. Sarah, I'm not. Just being smart. Ryan, smart about what? Either you want to be with me or you don't. Sarah, it's not that simple. Ryan, it is. Call me when you're actually out. Last message from Sarah after her kitchen visit. Sarah, hey, thinking about us. No reply. She thought she had it all lined up, filed to be with him, then realized he wasn't signing up for the drama. Now she's scrambling to save the marriage because Plan B ghosted. What does this mean for the divorce? Documented infidelity, premeditation, deception. She can't claim emotional mistake when we have weeks of planning. Mark felt triumph and disgust collide. 8 years. She'd looked him in the eye every morning, lying. There's more. David tapped another file. She opened a solo account 3 weeks before the email, siphoned off $4,127 from joint household funds, used it for hotels, dinners, Ubers to meet him. She stole from us to fund her affair. Legally tricky. Morally? Slam dunk. Mark's phone buzzed. Sarah, I know you're angry. We can fix this. He showed David. Respond however. She's just building more evidence. Mark typed, fix what? Our marriage? Our relationship? All of it. What relationship? Yours or Ryan's? Phone exploded. Calls, texts. How do you know about Ryan? Where did you get that? Those are private. We need to talk now. He screenshot one of her texts. Life's too short for a boring marriage. Sent it back. Powered off the phone. What now? We leveraged this. Fast, favorable settlement. She's lost all moral and legal high ground. What should I expect? A very desperate woman realizing actions have consequences. That evening, Sarah appeared at the door again. Not confident. Terrified. Eyes darting like a cornered animal. You went through my private messages. Your attorney provided them in discovery. Part of the case. Those are out of context. What context makes I can't pretend anymore better? You were going through a tough time? You planned an affair. Stole from joint accounts. I didn't steal. That money was mine too. Money you spent on hotel rooms with Ryan. She sank onto the porch steps. When did you find out? This morning? You'll use this in court. Depends how reasonable you want to be about terms. What does that mean? You created this through lies and cheating. Accept responsibility and we keep it quiet. Fight, and it goes public. Expensive, ugly. You'd really drag this through court? You dragged it into existence when you planned an affair instead of working on our marriage. Silence. Ryan's not answering. Not surprised. He didn't sign up for a married woman mid-messy divorce. I made a mistake. You made calculated choices. Planned mistakes. So no chance? Chance ended when you decided another man was worth more than our marriage. I never slept with him. You planned for weeks. Close enough. She stood to leave. I really did love you. You loved what I provided. Security, stability. Someone who never asked where you were. That's not true? Your messages say otherwise. After she left, Mark called David. She's ready to negotiate. Perfect. Just finished reviewing everything. These will be very short talks. Mediation scheduled for Monday. Over the weekend, Sarah's world imploded. Saturday afternoon, neighbor Tom caught Mark in the garage. Heard about you and the wife. Sorry, man. Thanks. Happens. Yeah, but the way it went down... Tom shook his head. My wife works with Sarah. Rumors flying about her and that Denver guy. Mark stopped wiping down the toolbox. What rumors? He told people she said she was already separated when they started. Now everyone knows she was married, planning to leave you for him. Looks bad, especially after he dumped her when it got complicated. How bad? HR pulled her in. Talk about workplace relationships and conduct. Sunday morning, Emily called. She's not okay. Lost her job Friday. Lost how? Called it layoffs, but everyone knows it's the Ryan scandal. He's management level. Guess who they kept? That's unfortunate. She's been crying nonstop. No job, no savings, and now, nowhere to live. What do you mean? I said she could crash here temporarily while figuring out the divorce. Didn't sign up for her moving in permanently to rebuild her life. So where's she going? That's why I'm calling. She wants to come home. She made her choice. Come on. She learned her lesson. She lost everything. She lost everything because she threw it away. You have no compassion. I have plenty. That's why I won't let her make the same mistake twice. Monday mediation was brutal. Sarah arrived looking like she hadn't slept in days. Dark circles, hair unwashed, clothes wrinkled. Johnson started with the same script. Emotional distress. Poor judgment. David countered with the timeline. Planning, affair, financial deception, manipulation attempts. My client is prepared to be generous despite circumstances, David said. We propose streamlined dissolution. Both parties assume equal responsibility for the marriage ending. Johnson requested a private caucus. They returned 20 minutes later. Sarah looked defeated. We accept simplified dissolution, Johnson announced. Mark leaned to David. What does that mean? She walks with personal belongings, forfeits everything else. House is yours. Retirement accounts, savings. She already spent most of her share on hotels and dinners. Sarah signed without argument, hands shaking. Outside, she caught Mark in the parking lot. You probably hate me. I don't hate you. I just don't trust you. I know I ruined everything. You made conscious choices. I lost the best thing in my life because of it. You lost it because you decided it wasn't the best thing. Tears again. I don't know what I'm going to do. You'll figure it out, like adults do when they make adult decisions. I have nowhere to go. That's no longer my problem. Can I ask one thing? Sure. If I'd been honest from the start, if I'd said I was unhappy and wanted to work on it, would you have fought for us? Mark thought. If you'd come to me and said you felt disconnected and wanted to fix it, yeah, probably. But not now. Now I know who you are when it gets hard. You lie, you scheme, you keep backup plans instead of fixing what's in front of you. I can change? You can. But you'll do it alone. For yourself. Not to get something from me. So this is really the end. It ended the moment you decided another man was worth destroying our marriage. She nodded, walked to her car, drove away. That night, Mark called David to finalize details. How you feeling? Relieved? Victorious? You handled it perfectly? Stayed calm? Protected yourself? Never let emotions override sense? What happens now? Wait 30 days for finalization, then move on. Any advice? Yeah. Remember this. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. David leaned forward in the mediation room, voice cutting through the tension. We negotiate from a position where both parties bear equal responsibility for the marriage ending. Johnson's face tightened. He requested a private conference with Sarah. They stepped out. 20 minutes later, they returned. Sarah looked shattered, shoulders slumped, eyes swollen, skin blotchy from crying. We accept simplified dissolution, Johnson announced, voice flat. Mark whispered to David, What does that mean? She takes her personal belongings, forfeits everything else. House is yours, retirement accounts, joint savings. She already burned through most of her half on hotels and restaurants. Mark felt a flicker of pity. Almost. Paperwork took 2 hours. Sarah signed every page without protest, pen scratching like surrender. Her hand trembled on the last signature. None. Outside the mediation center, she caught up to Mark in the parking lot, gravel crunching under her heels. You probably hate me. I don't hate you. I just don't trust you. I get it. I know I ruined everything. You didn't ruin it. You made deliberate choices. I know. And I lost the best thing in my life because of it. You lost it because you decided it wasn't the best thing. She started crying again, wiping her face with the sleeve of her blazer. I don't know what I'm going to do. You'll figure it out, like adults do when they make adult decisions. I have nowhere to go. That's not my problem anymore. Can I ask you something? Go ahead. If I'd been honest from the beginning, if I'd told you I was unhappy and wanted to work on things instead of planning behind your back, would you have fought for us? Mark paused. If you'd come to me and said you felt disconnected and wanted to fix it, yeah, I probably would have. But not now. Now I know who you are when things get hard. You lie, you scheme, you keep backups instead of fixing what's right in front of you. I can change. You can. But you'll have to do it on your own. For yourself. Not to get something from me. So this is really the end. It ended the moment you decided another man was worth blowing up our marriage. She nodded, tears streaming, walked to her car, drove off. Mark watched until her taillights disappeared. That evening he called David to tie up loose ends. How you feeling? David asked. Relieved. Like I won. You did. Handled it perfectly. Stayed calm. Protected yourself. Never let emotions override logic. What happens now? Wait 30 days for finalization, then move forward. Any life advice? Yeah. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. 2 weeks later, Mark bumped into Sarah's former coworker, Lisa, at the grocery store. She pushed a cart loaded with yogurt and salad kits. Heard you got divorced. Sorry. Thanks. It's for the best. Yeah. Whole thing with Ryan. What a mess. What's she doing now? Living with her parents, last I heard. Ryan transferred back to Denver to dodge the fallout. His ex-wife found out about the affair. Messed up his custody arrangement big time. Actions have consequences for everyone. Funny how that works. Mark drove home, windows down, radio on. No tension waiting behind the front door. No walking on eggshells around someone fundamentally dissatisfied. No wondering when the next fight would erupt. For the first time in months, he looked forward to pulling into the driveway. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. This was a mistake. We could have been happy. He blocked it without replying. Some conversations didn't deserve airtime. 30 days later, the divorce finalized. No ceremony, no drama, just stamped papers ending what she'd emotionally destroyed weeks earlier. Mark celebrated quietly, booked a weekend fishing trip up in Wisconsin, first solo vacation in years. No asking permission, no worrying about someone else's mood. 3 months post-divorce, his life transformed. He gutted the kitchen, new quartz counters, stainless appliances, the works. Hit the gym 5 days a week. Reconnected with college buddies he'd lost touch with during the marriage. That's when Sarah made her final play. She showed up at his office Thursday afternoon looking polished, hair highlighted, makeup flawless, tailored blazer. Someone had coached her on the glow-up. Can we talk? 5 minutes. About what? Us. What we could have been. There is no us. Hasn't been since you sent that email. I've changed, been in therapy. I get what I threw away. Good. Personal growth matters. I know I don't deserve a second chance. You're right, you don't. Can we at least try being friends? Friends don't lie for weeks while plotting betrayal. I was lost, scared. You were calculated, cruel. There's a difference. She tried for tears, but they looked rehearsed, eyes glistening on cue. I miss what we had. You miss what I provided, security, stability, someone paying bills while you figured out what you wanted. That's not true. Your messages said the opposite. Those texts don't show who I really am. They show exactly who you are when you think no one's watching. People change. Change happens through consequences, not by dodging them. So there's really nothing left to say. Nothing worth saying. You made your choice months ago. I chose wrong. You chose honesty. For the first time in our marriage, you were completely honest about what you wanted. I'm grateful for that. Grateful. It saved me from wasting more years on someone who didn't want to be there. She paused, realizing the script wasn't working. I heard you're seeing someone. I'm living my life. Is it serious? None of your business. Hope she appreciates what she has. She values honesty and direct communication. Novel concept. After she left, Mark felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no lingering attachment. Just relief that the chapter was sealed. 6 months later, a wedding invitation arrived in the mail. Thick cardstock, elegant script. Sarah had found someone willing to marry a woman who'd proven her commitment to vows. Mark tossed it in the trash, wished them luck. They'd need it. 1 year after her email, Mark was genuinely happy. Not just content, not satisfied, happy. He'd forgotten the feeling in the final years of marriage. His life was exactly what she'd complained about. Predictable, stable, boring. Difference was, he'd found someone who cherished those qualities. She despised them. When she asked for space, he gave her exactly what she wanted. Permanent space. Some lessons only sink in when consequences are irreversible. The greatest gift someone can give you is showing their true self. She handed him that gift with her email. He accepted it fully. Her space became his freedom. Her divorce became his fresh start. Her consequences became his victory. Perfect response to a perfect ending.